Salutations YouTube. See, I told you I'm coming back with a bang for these videos. Hope you all had a good week. Mine wasn't anything special really. It was my birthday yesterday, the big 27. Not really that big, but hope you all had a good Valentine's Day. Spent the day with your missus doing, you know. Apologies for how short my last video was. I literally did zero fact checking and information research, so I apologise for that. I've put a lot of research into this one though, and I should warn you now, this is a very horrifying event, and if it's not your sort of thing, or if you're triggered by these sorts of things, no pun intended, if this sort of thing affects you, please click off now. I won't hold it against you, I completely understand, and I'll see you in the next one. Today we're going to be talking about the Las Vegas shooting, which is arguably one of the biggest, if not the biggest and deadliest mass shooting in US history. But before we get into that, make yourself comfortable, get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack. Today I'm drinking, well, for this case I'm going to need a beer for this one, so cheers. Right, so background information. The perpetrator of the event was called Stephen Paddock, and he was a 64-year-old former auditor and real estate businessman who had been living 80 miles, which is about 130 kilometers northeast of Las Vegas, in a retirement community in Mesquite, Nevada. He was twice divorced and had a long-term girlfriend and no known children. He was a son of Benjamin Paddock, who was a bank robber, and who was actually on the FBI's most wanted list between 1969 and 1977. Bit of a fun factoid for you there. Paddock's only recorded police interactions were for traffic citations. So really, he was just no criminal background, no mastermind. He was a high-stakes gambler who placed bets at a high enough level to earn valuable comps. In other words, he was kind of what they call a whale. Don't know what that term means. I just know he was called a whale. I heard that in a podcast. He earned valuable comps, such as like free benefits, such as rooms and meals. He was a familiar figure to casino hosts in Las Vegas, but was not well known among other high-stakes gamblers because he mostly played single-player video poker, which he became a master at, learning how the computer works, knowing the cards and whatnot. I mean, this guy was rich. He was a property. He did something with properties, and he doubled his money and became actually. He was actually a millionaire at the time of this event. Millionaire, threw it all away. Knobhead. He reportedly kept to himself, and he was a heavy drinker. He lost a significant amount of his wealth over the previous 2 years, but had paid off all of his gambling debts before the shooting. In the year prior, Paddock's girlfriend noted a change in his demeanour and that he'd become increasingly distant, and the relationship was no longer intimate. According to his girlfriend, Paddock repeatedly cased Las Vegas villagers from different windows in their room when they stayed at the Mandalay Bay a month before the shooting. Paddock also may have considered attacking other events. He had researched large-scale venues in cities such as Boston since at least May in the year of the shooting, which, as I should add, it was 2017. And he had reserved a room overlooking the August 2017 Lollapalooza festival in Chicago, but did not use it. From September 17th, Paddock stayed at the Ogden in downtown Las Vegas, which overlooked the open-air Life is Beautiful festival that ran from September 22nd to September 24th. This is a bit of a fun fact for you. When they searched his shit, his internet terms from September included SWAT weapons, ballistics chart 308, SWAT Las Vegas, and deadliest use explosives. Meaning, how is it going to get down how's it going to go down if he gets caught before basically if the police are going to take him out or he's going to take himself out. He arrived at Mandalay Bay on September 25th, 2017 and booked into room 32135, which is a complimentary room on the 32nd floor. 4 days later, he also checked into the directly connecting room 32134. Both suites overlooked the site of the concert at Las Vegas Village. Pardon me. During his stay at Mandalay Bay, Paddock spent much of his time gambling. Usually at night. I mean, that's when most things happen. A little bit of Rodney Alcala reference there. He interacted with employees more than 10 times, including twice on the day of the shooting, which an MGM Resorts International spokesperson said that all interactions were completely normal, and his phone records show that he had made multiple visits to his home in Mesquite. With the help of hotel bellman, he brought 5 suitcases to his room on September 25th, 7 on the 26th, 2 on the 28th, 6 on the 30th, and 2 on October the 1st. On September 30th, he placed "Do Not Disturb" signs on the doors of both rooms. On the night of October the 1st, 2017, Paddock started firing into the crowd. This is where it's gonna... yeah, this is when it's gonna start getting mad. At some point during the attack on concert goers, Paddock had placed a webcam on a service car outside of his room. The shots wounded approaching hotel security guard Jesus Campos. The unarmed Campos had attempted to enter the 32nd floor at 9:59 p.m. on an unrelated matter, which was an open door alert, because he had smashed the windows. You shouldn't be able to open them. He'd smashed the windows. I forgot where I was. Yeah, he smashed the windows. He attempted to get to the room, but the door to the hallway was screwed shut using an L bracket. At 10:05 p.m, Paddock began firing hundreds of rounds in rapid succession at the crowd below. He initially started off with a few single gunshots before firing in prolonged bursts. And yeah, he used a hammer to break the windows. Fired out, like, over 1,000 rounds were fired, they were fired about 490 yards, I believe, which I want to say is 450 meters. He initially started out with a few single gunshots before firing in bursts that usually ranged from 80 rounds to 100 rounds. Many people in the crowd initially mistook the gunfire for fireworks, which, at a music festival, it's not uncommon. During concerts, it's normal to have fire. Well, not normal, but it's kind of like you expect it. Like, it's not unsurprising. That's it, unsurprising. During the shooting, a security fence hindered concert goers from fleeing the 15-acre, which I think is 6 hectares. And who the fuck thought of these terms? I don't know. Anyway, the gunfire continued with some momentary pauses, and over the span of 10 minutes ended by 10:15 p.m. During these pauses, during reload, and while Paddock was confronting Campos, most concert goers down below were able to flee the venue. In addition to shooting at the concert goers, Paddock had fired 8 bullets at a large jet fuel tank at the airport 2,000 feet. I don't even know what that is in meters away. 2 of those bullets struck the exterior of the tank, with 1 bullet penetrating the tank. The fuel did not explode because jet fuel is mostly kerosene, and if you know anything about science, that's unlikely to ignite from a bullet. During the shooting, police officers were initially confused whether the shots were coming from the Mandalay Bay, the nearby Luxor Hotel, or the festival grounds. There were also multiple false reports of additional shooters at other hotels on the Strip. Officers eventually spotted multiple muzzle flashes from the middle of the northern side of Mandalay Bay and responded to the hotel. At 10:12 p.m, 2 officers on the 31st floor reported the sounds of gunfire on the floor above them. When officers arrived on the 32nd floor at 10:17 p.m. and encountered Campos a minute later, he directed them to Paddock's room and helped others evacuate. Campos was then directed to seek medical attention for himself. I mean, you know where the shooter is. I'd say fucking help him out. He's obviously been shot. Between 10:26 p.m. and 10:30 p.m, 8 additional officers arrived at the 32nd floor. Some of those officers manually breached the door which Paddock had screwed shut. The gunfire had ceased and the police moved systematically down the hallway, searching and clearing each room and using a master key that was provided by Campos. At 10:55 p.m, the officers finished evacuating guests, and at 11:20 p.m, over an hour after the officers arrived on the 32nd floor, police breached room 32-135 with explosives. Paddock was found dead on the floor from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Police then breached room 32-134 while entering the hotel suite, which an officer accidentally fired a 3-round burst from his weapon, but thankfully the bullets did not harm anyone or hit anyone. At 11:27 p.m, officers announced over the police radio that a suspect was down. Much of Las Vegas Boulevard was closed while police SWAT teams combed the venue and neighbouring businesses. At approximately 2:45 p.m. on October the 2nd, a state of emergency was declared in Clark County. Early on October 2nd, Sheriff Lombardo identified the suspect as Stephen Paddock. It's just a mad situation. Like, talking about Paddock, yeah. Outside looking in, he just seemed like a normal guy. He was wealthy. He had very good business things. Obviously he was in properties, which increased. I think he was worth about 5 or 6 million. Which, if I had that sort of money, I'd be fucking living. I'd be living happily. I hope. But yeah, he had all that going for him. They interviewed his brother on the news and he was just in shock, literally dumbfounded. He had no idea. No one had any idea. He even said to his girlfriend a few times that his dad was I don't want to say professional, but he told his girlfriend that his dad was a bank robber, and that he says, "I'm a bad man, I have bad blood in me." According to the police, Paddock had acted alone. His motive remains unknown to this day, so no one knows. Only he knows, but obviously we're not going to find that out unless someone gets a Ouija board. No, it's a bad time for jokes. I'm sorry. There have been some discussion about brain pathology, initially thought to be benign, as a possible contributor. His remains were sent to Stanford University to receive a more extensive analysis on the brain. The Stanford pathologist found no abnormalities present within the brain. So he wasn't, I don't want to sound harsh, but he wasn't basically he wasn't crazy. He didn't have anything wrong with him. He wasn't on the spectrum. I'm making this sound completely unprofessional, I'm sorry. Basically, he seemed like a ordinary human being. Again, that sounds awful. Just a person. Investigators did believe that he was obsessed with cleanliness and possibly had bipolar disorder. And a doctor did offer him antidepressants. He only accepted anxiety medication, and it was reported that he was fearful of medication and often refused to take it. The doctor also described Paddock as odd and showing little emotion. Psychologists ex post facto have noted a distinct similarity between Paddock's demeanour and the psychological construct alexithymia, which might have modulated his decision to conduct the shooting given its association with various mass murderers throughout history. This is where this bit made me laugh. We're all familiar with a certain terror organisation, the Islamic State. They tried to claim responsibility for the shooting, claiming Paddock had converted to Islam 6 months prior to the attack and had renamed himself Abu Abdul Ba al-Amriki. But the United States law enforcement officials have given no evidence of a connection between Paddock and ISIS. Paddock described himself as an atheist, according to his girlfriend, who was a devout Catholic. He said that he was an atheist and often said that your God doesn't love me. And if you've not heard about this event, then you must be living under a rock or something, because it was global news. Fucking Eminem. Yeah, everyone's favourite rapper, Eminem. He's got a song called Darkness, which I believe is on the side A of Music to Be Murdered By, I want to say. But yeah, that song and the video portrays Paddock's thought process into the shooting, and it's also acts like as a double for the shooting and Eminem's nervousness before a concert performance. I mean, during the whole thing, 58 people were killed, either on the way to the hospital or at the actual location itself. But obviously a couple of years later, 2 more people died, upping the count to 60. Over 800 people were injured, and with about half of that being from gunfire or shrapnel. Like I said, it's the deadliest mass shooting in American history, possibly even the world. I don't really know the statistics on worldwide shootings, but the Vegas shooting is undoubtedly one of the biggest and most deadliest. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved. If you find this triggering, no, stop it. If this event affects you in any way, please talk to someone. I'm not good at giving advice, I'm sorry. Obviously, people who are at the event, thoughts go out to them. I can't ever imagine, and I can't fucking speak. I can't even imagine that sort of thing happening. Especially he had AR-15s, AR-14s. The AR-15s, he had 10 of them. Who needs 10 AR-15s, let alone one? And they were all equipped and fitted with bump stocks, which I should add. An AR-15 is like a semi-automatic. In other words, pull the trigger once, one bullet comes out. Attach a bump stock to that, it essentially turns it into a machine gun. So instead of one shot, bang, it's hold the trigger, multiple shots. And I think they actually banned bump stocks after that. I think there was a law change regarding bump stocks. I don't really know. But that shooting, those 2 years, 2016, 2016, there was the Pulse nightclub shooting, which at the time was the deadliest mass shooting in American history. A year later, that record was broken by this dickhead, Stephen Paddock. That's all I've got to say on the subject matter, really. Like I say, it is a very sensitive subject. I don't even know why I picked this for a series. Should I keep going? Let me know, because I've got a whole bunch of them written down to research. It is upsetting, I know. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Subscribe if you're new. Like I said in the last one, we're hoping to reach 200 by the end of the year, so you've got 10 months yet. And I will continue to bring these videos to you weekly. Every Saturday, I'm hoping, depending on how my schedule fits in. And until then, please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.